To our podcast series on how to navigate through difficult times. Our first episode was on faith, having faith in self, having faith in others, and having a deep faith in God. Our second episode was on embracing discomfort. How do we embrace discomfort so that we can navigate through those difficult times? Yeah, very important topic. Number 3 episode, we talked about believing you will be looked after. And once you believe you will be looked after, then you can help others, right? You can support others. And today's topic is on believing that you are beautiful. What we want to establish today is that every single one of us has beauty, has inner beauty. And how do we bring it out? How do we exhibit it? How do we help others find that beauty? But we know that many of us in our childhoods were raised to not feel beautiful. So if this is you, then our discussion today is, how do we flip that? And I'm going to turn the microphone over to Raj to discuss his childhood and being beautiful.
Although I'm always feeling I'm very beautiful in my inside.
Good.
And I'm very confident. When I was
Yes.
in school also, I'm very confident boy. I was very confident. I was very good in sports. I was very good in my study. I have very great sense power. But one bitterness there in my mind because my elder brother and my sister, they are very beautiful naturally. So always my mother and father, they never discourage me. But indirectly my relatives, my society people, my other people, they always say your brother and sister, they, my relatives, they are very good looking, they are very good looking, they are very beautiful. So inside of my childhood mind, I always feel, oh my god, I'm very ugly, I'm very ugly. That thought always come in my mind. So I always, whenever I have time, I always watch my face in mirror, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour sometime. And I thought, oh my God, I'm very ugly compared to my brother and sister. So that thought sometimes come in my mind. But although I was very bright student in my study, so my focus was always in study. So I never go very deep down.
Ah, very
But
good.
somehow I was disturbed sometime very badly
Mhm.
because my parents are very good, very supportive, very helpful, but they never said, I'm good looking. And they always said to my brother and sister. So I thought, oh my God, something is wrong in my family. But although I always focus in my study and my other things, so I never go in the negative phase. So
Mhm.
I am looking forward always. But yes,
Wonderful.
if for example my other friends, my like other people gone through this situation, sometimes they feel depressed also. And this is sometimes you feel suicide feeling also that age in these these very bullshit issues. In the very nonsense issue. But in the child age, like eighth, because that time I was in eighth standard. So sometime when you feel I'm not good looking, my skin is not good, like my, so you feel suicide thinking also because very
Mhm.
mature age.
Mhm.
So I think this is not good.
Well, you were very lucky you had an inner strength that made you not focus on the negative and you used all your positives, like what you're good in school, sports or whatever. You
Because
know,
the
I,
reason behind my friends, my other people, they are very supportive, they always encouraging me because I was so very fashion oriented person that age also. So they like my clothes, they like my hair, they like my shoes, so they always copy my fashion.
very good.
So
Yeah.
that thing, because in school age also I'm very confident boy, I have so much I'm uh, confessing you, so much attitude problem also there than my school age. I was very arrogant, very superiority complex there. So might be that thing not hamper me like my brother and sister, but that is not good. I know. So I always, whenever I go school, shopping, and other stuff, I always carry very great way. Like, so might be this thing, might be. I'm not sure.
Well, I can, from my experience, because I coach a lot of children and my own upbringing, I was constantly told that I was like an ugly duckling. I was a black sheep. Why can't I be like my other brother and sisters? You're never going to amount to anything. And I hear a lot of that from my clients who have that. When the parents tell you, your parents are your gods, right? You look up to them. If they start telling you how ugly and not beautiful and you're a black sheep and so on, it goes into your cells. And so my recommendation is that for everybody there to out there who is thinking that you aren't beautiful, that you are ugly in some way, please find someone to work it out with. Get rid of that, because it can really be debilitating for you in the future. So, Marion, what are your thoughts on this topic?
It amazes me when I'm thinking about the topic, how much comes out of comparison, right? Like Raj was saying, with my brother, with my sister, I felt like I was the ugly, and the ugly duckling kind of comes to mind. That old book where you have the three like yellow ducks, and then you have the one gray duck that turns out to be a swan. And so there's beauty in that. He looked different than everybody else. And so suddenly that became ugly, but really beautiful animal, and just different species. And I believe even for us as humans, that a lot of that has to do and how much we compare with others, and we feel less than others. And ultimately, of course, we're being shaped by a lot of influence by parents, first thing as we are children. And perhaps for those of us that are parents, to have that in our awareness and making sure that they're building a level of confidence, and that we are affirming them that they are beautiful. And by all means, I think narrowing this down to beauty in the traditional sense of the looks and the perfect appearance, that is a very superficial level, because there's so much beauty in children, whether it's their creativity, it's their kindness, it's their way to approach things. Everybody has strengths, and as we do in adults, except with children, we are shaping them. They're looking at us to get that healthy sense of self. Where the self-confidence doesn't turn into arrogance, but it's a healthy sense of self and being proud of who they are and what they bring to the table. And I think ultimately, as parents, that is, for me at least, the goal, to say, I am making sure they are at peace with who they are, they're proud of who they are, they're continuously learning, and they're hopefully not measuring themselves constantly by what they see. And that's a whole other conversation, I believe, now from when we grew up. And Raj, I think we are similar age there. Like, there was no social media. It was the kids that we saw, it was the cousins, the siblings, and the children in our schools. But we weren't sitting there with a phone looking at the Photoshop version of our friend that looked so beautiful or so skinny, or whatever the cases are, with girls particularly, and obviously with guys as well. They're different measures. And so having that healthy sense of self, being proud and being confident in who they are, and realizing that they are beautiful regardless how they look, what they do, it's setting the stage for life into adulthood and everything else that we do.
And even when we switch now to the corporate world, how powerful your statements are there, Marion, that as a leader, as a manager of people, that we respect the beauty. We see the beauty in every one of our employees, right? And the leaders beside us and the leaders above, see their beauty, acknowledge their beauty, verbally acknowledge that beauty, right? And the more we can acknowledge someone's beauty, I tell you, that really lifts the heart, and you're going to have a lot more productive employees, a lot more engaged employees if you do that. Very simple.
Oh, I have a lot of things to say on the corporate side, because I always said, when you have light and somebody else has light, it doesn't dim your light to shine some light on someone else. And particularly among females, I have seen that, where there's a lot of threat, there's a lot of competition, and at times, even at the highest levels, I've experienced executives, like literally the highest levels of organizations, constantly in comparison and in competition and looking to put the other one down. And really, ultimately, the whole organization fell apart because they could not see the light in each other and come together and make something better. But yes, of course, like as we are leading and as we are exhibiting strong leadership in team management and the people that we lead, that is a substantial part of leadership, to be able to lift others, to give them credit where there is credit due, to bring them into the spotlight. And instead of taking the credit for ourselves leading the team, to make them realize that we appreciate what they do and put them to the external world to see what they're doing and the beauty that they're bringing to, in this case, the organization.
And it's a skill that perhaps we could talk about another time. How does a leader see beauty? How do they see it? Because many times they don't even know how to see it. So perhaps let's discuss that another time. I think that would be a wonderful topic. Yeah. Okay.
That beauty comes in many shapes and forms. And sometimes I think we have to be very creative, that we are not falling into the traps of the traditional definition of beauty.
Exactly.
Of, this employee had value in bottom line results, but also how do they bring the whole picture together? What other things are they contributing to the betterment of the organization or the team? So that's definitely a whole other conversation.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Thank you for being here today on Believing You Are Beautiful. We'll see you next time.
Can anybody out there